after getting a phone number, should you wait a few hours or days before calling or messaging? What do you guys do?
I'll front this one, guys. This is an old question. You know, when I was 19 years old, I got the phone number of a girl and I waited 2 days only to discover that she had given me the phone number of the club I met her in. I didn't get her number, but it took me 2 days to find out. Now, as a 53-year-old older, wiser man, I've been through it all. I've seen it all. And waiting 2 days is not the rule we live by. I like calling her that night. That way I know it's real. I show interest. I don't say it was really lovely meeting you. I don't formalize it. I'll just say, hey, who sings this song? You spin me rats round, baby, rats round. Who sings this song? It's a one-hit wonder from the 80s, and I just had brain freeze. Well, figure it out. Call me back. Bye. Click. Instant rapport on the phone with a gambit to fill time, right? Much better than being formal, waiting your 2 days. That way I'm not
Yeah.
I'm acting
And
like I'm
every
busy.
and
It's
every
just
year that question's harder to answer for them, isn't it? Who sang that song?
For me,
Nate,
it's for me.
The
I
girl's the same age. The girl's the
when
same age, but
when I get a contact information, Instagram or whatever, I tell her what I'm going to do with it. I say, listen, you just gave me your number. You gave me your Instagram. I'm going to message you. Are you excited? Because I'm excited. I'm going to message you. Do you want it?
I love
I
that.
mean,
I
I
it's
love
tell
that.
her what
brilliant.
I'm going to do with
It's
it. If
brilliant.
you tell her
Yes.
what you, otherwise I don't. Otherwise, I don't want your Instagram. I don't want it. I'm going to message you, and I'm going to be excited. You can be excited too. You can wait by the phone, pick it up in the first ring. Okay. I tell her what I'm going to do with it, and because I don't want that energy feel of dissipated sh guessing, and she's not responding, and it's asymmetric, and you're texting her 3 times, she texts you, "Oh, it was nice to meet you too," smiley face. I don't want it at all. I
Yeah,
wanted it,
yeah.
So I
That's
tell her what
masterful.
I say.
It's
You gave
masterful.
me your Instagram nowadays, or your phone number. I'm gonna text you. Are you excited? Because if you're not excited, I'm not gonna do it. You have to be excited. Are you with me? Okay. So I explain what I'm gonna do with it.
I love it.
My
Absolutely.
Yeah,
answers.
that's a good. I'm going to use that. I'm
Yes,
keeping that
sir.
one. Thanks, Sam.
My head.
We're
I'm
we're
good.
That is
learning
a
from each other. This is what the panel is.
that
Some
is
of
No,
the
you
masters.
gotta, evolve, man. There's no
Yeah.
school like the old school.
this is a good one. My
Perfect.
my my answer is going to sound a little crazy pants here, but I am very much a fan of gaming in a way that I think is going to attract the woman, but also doing what feels right to me. And sometimes I don't message the girl right away, and I can't even really explain why. I get her number. We had a great connection. I tee up a text message, or better yet, a voice message, and I'm about to hit send. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel right to me. And I wait. I will sometimes wait several days. And then I'll drop a song on her, or I'll drop a voice message. I would say, as a general rule of thumb, I want to keep the momentum going. But I've waited up to 5 days, 6 days to message a girl and had it work and had it convert. I would say, guys that are new to the game, keep the momentum going forward. Message right away, as was discussed. When you get a little bit more experience under your belt and you have more abundance, you can play with gaps in communication a bit more. I'm not doing it to manipulate. There's a difference there too. I'm not doing it because, oh, I want to create this emotional reaction. I just take a little bit of an avant-garde, weird emotional approach to it. It's got to feel right for me. I like when I game in a way that feels right to me. So I will sometimes wait, and I can't
Authentic.
explain why. Just
I'll throw in my answer as the king of message game. This is going to be mind blowing to some people. Let's say I'm in a nightclub, whatever context, even like a networking event. I'll say, "Give me your phone," and then I will add myself on her phone, send myself a message, and then the ball is in my court. I might even send myself a stupid, silly message, be like something obnoxious. Maybe not. I wouldn't do this most of the time, but maybe like, "Hey, sexy," or something like an inside joke that was probably said in the interaction or whatever was going on. I'll be spontaneous with it. And then the ball is in my court. I can then respond. Let's say it's a night game scenario where I sent myself the message from her phone. I can then respond if I didn't pull her that night, the next morning. And then it's as simple as that because I don't need to wait. I have her information. I don't need to test for if the information is correct because I used her phone to contact myself because we were right there in the proximity. Now, sometimes it will happen where she probably doesn't give her phone immediately. So then she'll be like, why, or something along those lines. And then I could say something like, maybe my battery is low, or I want to see, here's the classic one I use. I want to see how fast I come up when I search myself. And then I put ICEW, and then I'm like, oh, there I am. Perfect. And then that could be Facebook, it could be Instagram. That's how I do it. Bull is in my court, and I learned this myself back in maybe 2017 because I gave my phone number to a Swiss German girl, and I didn't understand the difference between phone numbers on an international level. So she couldn't send me a message because she had like a plus whatever Switzerland uses, and I had something completely different. And I didn't even understand. So she could not contact me. So then I just started doing this whole thing where give me your phone, and then I add myself into her system, send myself a message. Then for people who love Instagram, I don't have to worry about being in her DM requests, in her request folder. She's in mine. I just have to be competent enough to check my own messages and then respond back. As simple as that. That's my way of doing it.
It's a subtlety in time bridging, right? It's an important subtlety because it's a critical moment, getting her contact number and making sure it's the real thing. And then more so getting that connection with her again, which is where you are when you have her phone number. You're technically in C2, in mid game, when you've got her on the phone for the first time. You've already met her. This isn't someone you've met online and then got them on the phone. This is someone that you gamed all the way to doing a phone number exchange, and now you're meeting them online in a virtual reality like this. What I recommend is video phone. Gentlemen, you have the video phone button in the top corner. Use the video phone button, or the audio button. Leave a voice message. Reach her spirit. Make her know that you are really present, because she'll step up and be present with you if you are the type to be present with her. Zan, you do this. You overwhelm a person with your presence, right? And they step up and meet you halfway. And that is the most titillating experience where you actually feel like you've gotten to know this person.
Well, I'm excited about life, man. I'm excited. I start rocking. I'm like, yeah, let's talk. This is cool. I love it.
Me too, man. Me too.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
If I'm playing a board game or something, I'm like, okay, Ice, your turn. Let's go. I get excited. I'm like a little
I'm a
boy.
bit like that. That's funny.
You're high energy.
Totally. When it comes to social, when there's girls around. There's girls around.
Yeah.
Ramp up.
I'm good.
Put the right type of
10x.
woman in the room with me, and it wakes me up. It titillates me. It mentally stimulates my mind for the entire interaction. When
I'm the last guy to go
beautiful
home. If we go out,
And Dan.
if you drag me out, I'm like, I'm tired. But if I go out, if there's girls out, I'm not going home. I'm the last dog to go home ever.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just love
First in,
being-
last out.
Hey guys, what I'm understanding here is you get excited, you get pumped, you're like, oh, I'm so inspired and I'm so stimulated. And then you go home and go on Reddit and complain about women on the red pill forums.
God, I don't even have Reddit.
No,
I want to
I think
actually add to the closing situation, if I may, Eric.
Yeah,
What
they're
I
operating from a place of pain. That's all I wanted to
Yeah.
say.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. Definitely. Yeah. Look, we're all jovial. We're happy. You know, there's no weirdness going on. So what I wanted to say with the closing, now it depends how you close, how you're going to respond to them, right? So one of the closing gambits I would use would be, hey, so you've been chatting for a while, right? But when you want to close, I'll be like, we're thinking of having a fancy dress party. What are your ideas of fancy dress parties? You know, cops and robbers, nuns and priests. What do you think? So now they have to go inside their mind and think of what it would be a good one. And they're like, you know, nurses and doctors. And I'll be like, yeah, but if you came, what would you wear? And she's like, well, a nurse, obviously. And you go, would it be a sexy one? And she's like, yes. Then you can come, okay? So you see how you smoothed in and you go, okay. And then you swap the numbers. And then my reason for texting her is, hey, and I say, we have lots of parties. They're not all fancy dress parties, but you can come to them. It's fine. You seem cool now. All right. But remember, you've been chatting to her for whatever amount of time previously. So this is just the closing gambit. So when I invite her, I say, hey, the fancy dress party's not quite yet, but let's grab a drink and talk about the outfits, you know, whatever. So it's in context, it's congruent, one of the C's, to being with what you closed her with instead of, hey, let's just go for a drink. I have a reason to do that. I have context to do that. I have something that we've engaged in that she laughed about. She had to think about. She had to give me answers about. So she was invested in that. And the investment is quite important. The second version is I will close loads of girls and then there's a template you can send to all, right? And it's instant party. Have an instant party at yours. You were the main feature of that night for them all, hopefully. And there are now, some of them are going to come to your party. Even if one comes, it's okay, but always presume a threesome. And that's the way you do it. And have a wingman there. You don't want to be the only dude because that's also weird, even though later in the end of the night, I like to be the only cock in the room. So, but that's another gambit for another time. We've all got something big in. But no, let's see what pops up. No, but seriously, on a serious note, enough about me.
What do you think of me?
What do you think of it? But no, so there's different ways of how am I going to respond to them? And definitely what Mystery says is, and something you touched on, Ice, is there's higher forms of contact. The lowest form is text. It's the most arguments are caused by someone is putting emotion over the text, which is wrong. The emotion wasn't that. I was being facetious or sarcastic or ambiguous or fantastic. I was not being factual, and you are not. Your bum does not look big in that, right? Your belt size is not equator. I do not have to slap the thigh and ride the wave in, right? So I was having a joke with you. You know, you're bootitious. You're lovely. So it depends on it. So the next is voicemail, which I use the most. I have to admit, because it's so convenient, but it's not texting. So use voicemail. They can hear your tones. Oh, I remember his voice. I remember how he was. You can put laughs. You can put jokes in instead of emojis. You can make it, you can put sound effects in the back. I'm sitting in the kitchen. I'm really busy, but I'm thinking of you, right? I'm just cooking at the moment, but I'm thinking of you. And I've got to follow up on something. What was that song, Mystery? You spin me right round, maybe right round. Whatever you're going to do. Hit.
The name of the band is Dead or Alive. I do know the answer.
No. It's Paul
After
Rudd.
all these
Paul Rudd.
years. After all these years, I thought it was Boy George.
That's great.
So, but and I have used that. But also, instant night. Why are you waiting for the next day? Hey, I'm having a party. If she goes, I can't make it. That's totally cool. Yeah, there's other parties, other days. You can still invite her out one-on-one the next day. I'll message you tomorrow. Don't worry. I've got to get up. Got to carry on with my mixology here. I'm inventing something special. So it doesn't matter. If they don't come that night, they'll come another night. And I don't always blame them for not coming that night. You haven't failed. They just have already planned their going home stuff. Now it is breakable. And I'm not, there are ways of doing this. But if she's into you and invested, there's another day to play. But yeah, go for it that night as well. Don't just think I'm going to go the next day. Go for it that night while the buying temperature is high. I like high buying temperature. That's why I spike it with moves and spins and having a laugh and moving them and bouncing them in and, you know, doing Kino gambits and invoking emotions within them. I think that's so powerful to get their buying temperature up. Then you're like, let's hit it. Let's get out of this joint. You know, I'm not feeling it anymore. Let's go. And you're out of there in the moment. You already ordered an Uber. It's already there waiting.
You just get
hopefully Uber Deluxe.
Yeah, XL. Got a super chat
XL.
here. Ablaze, I think there is a level of manipulation in choosing to wait on messaging her, calling her, and leaves her on a high and anticipating the call. The guy is in control of the feeling for her. That was just a comment, no question. Jack,
So I think
any
there's a fine
thoughts?
line between manipulation and persuasion. You know, I don't like to manipulate. I do like to persuade. I like to be influential. And I'll say this, one of the best relationships that I've ever had, one of my first loves, one of my first heartbreaks as well. I waited 6 days to contact her. I had a lovely exchange with her at a party. We knew mutual people. I got her contact information. And I sat there thinking about her for 6 days.
Mhm.
And every time I went to call her or send a text, I stopped myself. And I have no idea why. It just didn't feel like the right moment. And I finally did call her. Didn't text her. I called her 6 days later. And she even brought it up later in the relationship. Hey, why'd you wait to call me 6 days? I said, I don't know. It just felt right. Maybe she would have liked me had I contacted her sooner. Maybe I would have got her, quote unquote, either way. But I can tell you, it works. There's not a perfect science to it. I can't even tell you what I'm waiting for. I'm just feeling through the ether. I can feel tension.
I'll
And
add
it's
to
not
that.
all the
So
time. I don't do that every time. My current relationship, my fiance, I met her. We jumped on a Zoom call because I did meet her online. We jumped on a Zoom call and I spent 3 hours with her. And then I invited her to sushi that night. We sat in a sushi restaurant for 2.5 hours, closed the place down, and then we sat in my car for 2.5 hours. So I spent 8 hours with my fiance the first day that I met her in person. So I think that guys, rather than thinking algorithmically, this is where the art comes in. This is where calibration comes in. This is where it's a combination of doing things that you think will work and then also gaming in a way that feels true and authentic for you. So manipulation, no. Persuasion, yes.
I'll add on to that. This I don't know whether to call it a technique or whatever. This like free day thing, free day rule, if you want to wait 2 days, 3 days, 6 days, whatever. This goes way back to the 80s or even before that. My dad waited 3 days to call my mom after they met, after the night they met. 3 days he waited. So I am existing because of that. Maybe
I
it
think
made
that's
no
fair.
difference. Maybe it did, but it's what my
I think
own
that's a
family
fair
did.
answer. But remember, this was all, how long ago was it, Eric?
Oh, we're going
How
back
long?
to age
A
20,
long time.
20
Yeah,
years ago.
so, and you're saying mom and dad. This is before everyone's on flipping, bumping in people's DMs. Bang, 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 bang. These days, you got to be a bit quicker, you know? You can't be waiting anymore.
2 days
Yeah.
to another man who's stealing your buying temperature.
Fair,
Yeah,
fair.
exactly. Stealing your
yeah.
buying temperature. Exactly.
I would definitely
Exactly.
say
I've
as
worked hard to get that buying temperature. Thank you very much.
I would say as a general rule of thumb, I am contacting her sooner, definitely, and voice text all the way, as we've discussed. I'm
Yeah.
generally leaning
Yeah,
towards
back in the
sooner.
day, it was more. It didn't
Baxter's
matter as
saying
much.
something good here. So one way I understand this, you are everyone, almost everyone alive right now is exposed to more information in one day than someone living 300 years ago was in their entire lifetime. The amount of information overstimulation that is going on, the amount of messages. Even you see like hot girls, and if they show you their Instagram DMs, even the ones that aren't so hot are getting a lot of messages, but the ones who are super hot, they will have hundreds and hundreds going back in the last 2 to 4 weeks. It's like a 30
Yeah, it's
day
you get
auto delete
lost.
thing.
You get lost in the ether, in the tsunami of messages. So you got to be bang. It's instant is best. Instant is best. Right now is best. Why are you delaying? Now is best. We live in the now, so now is best.
Already,
It's
let's
still now-
Just go
it's-
for it.
It's still now a few days later, though, too.
Yeah, well, if it doesn't work now, you've gave that a go, right?
Yeah, then
And then
try
you've
again
got
later.
later as well as a backup or a side hustle, whatever you want to frame it as. You still got another go, but some women women have said to me, "Why didn't you make out with me straight away?" Or "Why didn't you make out with me that day?" Or what? Or girlfriends have said, "Why is he not interested?" And I know guy's trying to game her. He's trying to game her and he's trying to be cool and so on, but he's not made any interest at all. There hasn't been for the whole, 5 hours. There's been no interest, and he's not invited her back. He could have, and by that time, I've seen guys that could have just go, "Do you want to come back to mine and have a cocktail?" And they would have gone. And then the girls come over and go, "He didn't even ask me back." And I'm to the girl, "Why don't you ask him back?" And she's like, "Because I'm the girl." Girls don't think that they should be doing that.
Baxter, you just set
So
up
you have to
perfectly.
at some point.
You just set it up perfectly for the next question, so I'm going to throw in the next question.
Very
What do
good.